And we are ready to begin. We're so pleased you're here. And as we've said, you're more magnificent today. And yes, we're referring to a message we gave you previously that you will understand more today. But what we've done, we wanted to give you something that would uplift you today because we felt last night the energy of your world shifting very quickly, and many of you might have been a little confused as what was occurring. So we had our messenger put together something for you to bring you to a higher state of consciousness within yourself so that you could bring that to your world. We've said that you are moving through a restructuring of your world, so you are alive because you hold something within you that could cause your world to become so much better if you do the same for yourself, because you have gifts and talents that are just meant to evolve as you live your physical life experience. What we have done is given you a guide. We have said you're moving through this time, which you can think of as a mass ascension process that you're all moving through, but it's a planetary ascension, something that none of you have accomplished or done before, so that's why you're here. And even though it might look or seem a bit chaotic to you, that's what you wanted, because you can't expand, you can't evolve unless you have some contrast or a little conflict here and there. But the way that you resolve it is by deciding to love yourself, is by deciding to become your best self, and this is what we have given you. Last week when we had our messenger go to Gaia and participate in the global channeling conference, we said to all of you, as you're worried about your election in the United States, we said you would win. Because we want you to understand that each of you are that important. You can't make another more important than yourselves and hope for your planet to evolve or for the election to turn out well. You start to recognize that you each come into the world with something of value, but you also come in with limitations and restrictions that are generational, as we have said, and they're all emerging in your planet now. But this is happening because of the galactic changes that sometimes you don't understand. But we gave our messenger changes and an understanding throughout your time over these last 35 years, which is why when we told him we had a message on your birthday, that is because we do. You each have a unique path, a unique part to play in the formation of your universe, of your world. It's all energy and you all hold it. Now you must understand that over time you've been taught that you are not that significant in many different ways. You have taken groups of people and made them less, and so you keep carrying around that idea that somehow more of you don't have the same abilities as others. That's never true. So what we said was we gave you a new philosophy. What if you were to look at all of that history that you each carry that has been restricted and limited and decided to move beyond it, decided to let it go from your life now and also from your ancestors? Because consciousness never leaves, it just shifts. Energy just shifts. It never dies, and you don't either, which is what we wanted you to understand. So if you come to understand the messages that we have given you over the years, you will understand how consciousness evolves. We're speaking of your individual consciousness which you hold, but also the collective consciousness, because you are all creating that. And as we've said, it's needed a rebalancing, and that rebalancing is coming about when more of you honor the male and female energies that exist within each of you and decide to balance them. The only thing that ever occurs is that you just fight against yourselves. That's all. You think you're fighting against others, you're fighting against yourself because you're trying to remember your oneness. You're trying to remember your connection to Source, to God, to all that is, because you all have that. And the more of you who do that, you see you have a very different life experience, and then you have a very different world. As you decide to take on that journey of self-discovery, or what we call ascension, because what happens is you do it earnestly, you begin to heal in ways that you cannot imagine. And we know that it works because we've given you our messenger who has done that. And we're saying it again because he's going to be 74 in a few days, and he's in better health than you can imagine. And that's because it's consciousness, which is what we wanted you all to understand. Now, he has not fulfilled what he's doing, and neither have you, which is why we're doing this today, because we would like for more of you to take the next step into who you are meant to become, and we're going to have him do the same thing. When we said we had given all of this information, he didn't finish. just like you haven't. We're saying this because now is not the time for you to judge yourself. Now is the time for you to embrace yourself and to start to move to a higher understanding of who you are. Everything is energy. And when you start to think of it in the grand scheme of things, you can see that creation happens depending on the types of energy that you each emit into your world. If you're going to put in energies of hate and judgment and all of that, you know that doesn't feel right for you. How would you think it was going to feel in your world? Because then you keep doing it and you see things that arise like wars because you're just carrying around old grievances. This is why we have given you all of this work, and we wanted you to see that if you do it, you have the best life ever, and then you are able to create the future worlds that you all want to see. When we gave you our work, and we said specifically in 2012, the very first message was infinite intelligence. You all have it. It just develops over time, and then there are certain beings like our messenger who decides to come in and live a life where he can show you how it operates and what you can manifest, so that you each can then take that information, develop it yourself, and then give it to your future generations, which is why and how your world evolves. Now, we're giving you this today because there's movement happening in your world, and we wanted you to understand it, but we also are preparing you for our live conversation with you on your new moon. We always do them when you have planetary changes such as that, because then there's more energy available and our messenger can access more of this cosmic wisdom and guidance that we have given him all of these years. And we know that it's difficult for each of you to understand or accept what you have, just as it was for him, because it's always hidden from you until it's time for it to come about. And we're saying that time for many of you is now. It is today, which is why we did this and why we took him through all these links last night and had him do this, because we said we want you to put all the work out. Please understand this. When we speak about our work, it's something that he has been given for these last 35 years. Now, he couldn't possibly have put it all there. We only put in a little bit of it, and it's already caused great results in the people who have done it. We're saying this because we want you each to understand you are never limited. You are never limited except if you think you are. It is just your consciousness, and you have the ability to change it. The difficulty you have is accepting that you are constantly building it, and we don't want you to think that you should have had it now. Many of you have been doing that, or having the regret as our messenger has had, because you will also find that you will discover things about yourself that you hadn't seen, and then you will be tempted to judge yourself. Please give that up. We would much rather you take the move of loving yourself, and as you read the messages that we have given you, you can read each year, you can read them all together, but what you will find is that you will change. Your consciousness will change, because that's where it matters. When you speak of mindset, we're telling you, we've given you that in this way because we were using your neuroscience, and we've been doing it over the shifts of consciousness throughout the last 3 decades of your earthly experience, so you all can have it. Now, we are not done, and neither are you, because consciousness is never finished. However, in this lifetime, it is time for you to own the best part of yourself, to become the magnificent that you can be, because it is you. Nothing is holding you back. And this is what we wanted to give to all of you and to your world, because the more of you who would understand this, you would not see the conditions that are occurring in your life or in your world, because you would be loving yourself and you would be loving others, and you would be creative. You each have something to create and honor and build. When you're doing that, you're not fighting one another. You're not even fighting yourselves. This is why we said on our new moon, we're going to have you end the inner war, because that's the only place that it exists, within you, and then it manifests out into your world. But you have the opportunity at this great change in your life, in your evolutionary journey, and that of your world, which we've called your planetary ascension. So now you can become the best person you can imagine, because we know it is within you, and we know that you have the skills and the ability to do it, because we've given it to you at this incarnation on your earthly trajectory. But you will take something from what we have given you and you will make it more, because that is why we said we know we are speaking to the correct person, because it is you. And we love you so much, and we just want you to have everything that you deserve, because you deserve it.